The DWP have perhaps broken some kind of record as a government department for now being cited as the cause of death in two death certificates. The deaths were both suicides. Now, if you've watched the other video of mine, Dead Gay, you will know that there is an argument that says that if you persecute someone to death and if you stand idly by and allow that to happen, it's the moral equivalent of murder. When the same person is responsible for 3 murders, it's a magic number, is 3. When you have committed 3 murders, you become a serial killer. So the question now is, when the next death certificate arrives saying DWP have depressed this person to the point of suicide, does that make a government department a serial killer? And it gets slightly more disturbing than that, because we have to look at the objections that are being made. And the other thing that's come up quite recently, I only found out about yesterday, was a group of churches have formally protested against the DWP policies, against the unemployed in general, but also against the disabled, those who are not fit for work, for whatever reason, those with mental health problems, and the disabled in particular. The UN are investigating possible human rights violations on the treatment of disabled by the fit for work stuff. Now, the churches that have kicked off are Baptist Union, Church of Wales, Church of Scotland, Methodist Church and United Reformed Church, and what I assume is a multi-denominational charity, Church Action for Poverty. I don't know what they've kicked off at, but they are sort of, they've made protest. What I noticed and what I find quite disturbing about this list is that the established Church of the land, the Church of England, the Anglican Church, isn't there. They haven't said anything. And the Roman Catholic Church, the largest Christian denomination in the world, isn't there. Hasn't said anything. Now, the head of the Catholic Church in this country is Cardinal Vincent Nichols. He's cardinal because Pope Francis made him a cardinal. Pope Francis, the greatest advocate the poor have got at the moment, made this guy a cardinal, and he's so done nothing. Well, the Church of England, the established Church of the land, is perhaps not surprising. It's a government-run church. Officially, it isn't. The Queen, as head of state, is also the head of the church, but yeah, nothing gets in unless it's approved by Parliament first. But this silence is distressing for another reason. It's the same silence that the church gave during the Holocaust, where 11 million people died. All we can do is pray. It's this lack of willingness to stand up for what is right, stand up for the poor, stand up for the oppressed, that is very disturbing. If we read about the church fathers, in the patristics era, or even if we look back to the behaviour of the rather famous 2 bishops of Liverpool, Shepherd and Warlock, who stood in front of the bulldozers to prevent a community from being demolished. They stood there in mitres and copes with croziers in hand to protect the community and say, no, you're not demolishing this community. That doesn't happen. That was in my lifetime. I remember hearing about that. But where are they now? We've got 2 deaths and a government department cited for 2 deaths. We've got... There must be more coming. We have tremendous distress being caused to so many people. and the church is remaining silent. Why aren't the bishops out in the streets in their copes and mitres demanding change, demanding compassion, demanding mercy? And they're not, they're silent. And that is why our churches are emptying, because the churches are doing nothing of any great use. Interesting to note that the other churches, of course, like the Baptist Church and the Church of Wales, the Church of Scotland, the Methodist Church, the United Reformed Church, their congregations tend to be increasing. So the church wants to know why its populations are decreasing. That is one of the reasons that you fail to stand up for the good of the community. And that's the nation. And we'll leave out Justin Welby's past in the oil industry, shall we? We'll save that for another time. But when one of these government ministers decides to hide behind his Christianity, that'll be an interesting video. That's where we might well degenerate into voodooism.